Imagine a quiet Pennsylvania morning disrupted by a severe accident between a motorcycle and a tractor trailer. The result? A $25 million verdict that reverberated throughout the trucking industry. But how did this happen, and what were the factors that led to such a significant outcome? I'm Brandon with United Commercial Insurance. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the legal case of Travis Sweigart versus Voyager Trucking Corp, Kevin Patten, and Blue and Green Trucking and Hair LLC. This case involves a complex series of events, and the courtroom battle that followed raised important questions about responsibility, safety, and legal strategies. Let's break down the details, the legal disputes, and the broader implications for the trucking industry. Before we begin, it's important to note that this video provides an opinion-based analysis of an already completed legal case that has been adjudicated. Everything discussed in this video reflects my personal opinion and understanding of the case. This video should not be taken as legal advice. If you require legal assistance, please contact a licensed attorney who can provide you guidance tailored to your specific situation. To understand the $25 million verdict, we first need to look at what happened on the morning of September 9, 2010. Kevin Patten, a truck driver for Blue and Green Trucking and Hair LLC, was driving a fully loaded tractor trailer along Interstate 176 in Pennsylvania, heading to a landfill in Morgantown. As he approached the exit ramp at Morgantown Road, Patten noticed headlights from a motorcycle in the distance, about 300 yards away. That motorcycle belonged to Travis Sweigart, who was riding home after a long night. As Patten approached the intersection, he made a decision, one that would change everything. He turned left, assuming he had enough time to cross the intersection before the motorcycle reached him. But Sweigart, seeing the truck moving, assumed it was just creeping forward to get a better view. He didn't slow down, and by the time he realized Patten was making a full turn, it was too late. Sweigart braked hard, lost control, and skidded backward into the rear wheels of the truck's trailer. The impact was devastating. Sweigart's pelvis was shattered in what was described by one surgeon as one of the worst pelvic fractures he's ever seen. What followed was a legal battle that would test the limits of personal injury law, driver responsibility, and how a jury handles emotionally charged cases. Before we dive into the legal proceedings and courtroom drama, let's take a moment to introduce the main parties involved in the case. Travis Sweigart is a 32-year-old motorcyclist who was severely injured in the accident. He was an experienced rider, but the events of that morning would change his life forever. Sweigart's injuries were so severe that his recovery required extensive medical treatment, and he was left with long-term physical limitations. Kevin Patten is a truck driver employed by Blue and Green Trucking and Hair LLC, a small trucking company. On the day of the accident, Patten was operating a fully loaded tractor trailer, and his decisions at the intersection would become central to this case. Voyager Trucking Corp is a company that played a key role as a third party in the lawsuit. Voyager had a business relationship with Blue and Green Trucking and Hair, and was also named in the lawsuit as one of the parties responsible for the accident. After the accident, Travis Sweigart filed a lawsuit against Voyager Trucking Corp, Kevin Patten, the driver, and Blue and Green Trucking and Hair LLC, accusing them of negligence. From the very beginning, the defense team knew this case would be challenging given the severity of Sweigart's injuries. One of their first moves was to request bifurcation, which means they wanted to split the trial into two parts. One to determine the liability and one to address the damages. Their reasoning was that Sweigart's injuries were so horrific that the jury might be biased if they heard about them during the liability phase. However, the court denied this motion, ruling that the jury could fairly separate these two issues: who was at fault and the damages that occurred because of that liability. The trial itself was filled with drama, and one moment in particular stands out. During the testimony of Sweigart's emergency room orthopedic surgeon, the jury was shown a medical illustration of Sweigart's injuries, an accurate but graphic depiction of the damage to his pelvis. One juror, who we'll call juror number 2, visibly struggled with the testimony, and then something shocking happened. Juror number 2 fainted in the middle of the trial. The courtroom was stunned. One of Sweigart's treating physicians, who was already on the stand, rushed over to help, along with another doctor who was in the courtroom. The judge called a recess while juror number 2 received treatment and was taken to the hospital. When court resumed, the defense immediately moved for a mistrial. Their argument was that the sight of Sweigart's doctors coming to the aid of a fainting juror created a halo effect, making the jury more sympathetic to Sweigart and giving the doctor's testimony extra credibility. However, the judge denied the mistrial. Instead, the judge asked the remaining jurors if they could continue to assess the case fairly. Each juror confirmed that they could remain impartial. The trial went on, but that moment would be remembered as one of the most dramatic twists in the case. The courtroom drama didn't end there. Throughout the trial, both sides clashed over what evidence should and should not be admitted. First, the defense argued that the jury should know that Sweigart didn't have a motorcycle license. They believed this information would show that he might not have been qualified to ride a motorcycle. But the judge ruled that this fact was irrelevant to the accident itself. There was no evidence that Sweigart's lack of a license had anything to do with the crash. Next, the defense wanted to introduce videos of Sweigart riding recklessly on his motorcycle, popping wheelies and speeding in the months leading up to the accident. The defense argued that these videos also showed a pattern of reckless behavior that might have contributed to the crash. But again, the court ruled against them, saying that the videos were unrelated to the specific situation that caused the accident. These rulings were pivotal in keeping the focus on the immediate events of the accident without bringing in unrelated behaviors or circumstances. Despite the defense's best effort, the jury found Kevin Patten 95% responsible for the accident and awarded Travis Sweigart $25 million in damages. The defense argued that Sweigart might have been speeding, but ultimately the jury believed that Patten's decision to turn left in front of the motorcycle was the primary cause of the crash. The amount awarded reflected the severity of Sweigart's injuries and the lifelong impact they would have had on him. This really is a staggering verdict, but it wasn't the end of the story. The defense filed post-trial motions challenging the court's decisions, including the jury instructions about Pennsylvania's sudden emergency doctrine, which lowers the standard of care for drivers in unexpected situations. However, the court denied these motions, and the $25 million verdict stood. The Sweigart versus Voyager Trucking case is a reminder that the smallest decisions on the road can have the biggest consequences. Whether you're a driver or a trucking company owner, safety and preparedness are key to avoiding situations like this. In today's legal environment, trucking companies will find it difficult, if not impossible, to fight off the trial bar when accidents occur. Once a case has gone to trial, a truck owner has no idea which way the judge will rule, has no idea how a jury will feel about a situation, and will be fighting a very difficult uphill battle. In the events where injuries are involved, emotion plays a large part as well as to what the victim went through. Trucking owners have to be very cautious on the drivers that they hire, the safety profiles and the safety programs that they put them through, and choose caution and safety as the utmost top priority at their company. It's just the reality of how things are. So I'm Brandon with United Commercial Insurance, and if you want to learn more about how to protect your trucking business, please give our office a call. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Feel free to leave any questions or comments, and thanks again for watching.